Okay. All set here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Killing Even More. I'm Karyn Bryant.
I'm Megan Olivi. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us for week 3.
Week 3, yes. Meetings Have Biscuits is the name of the episode of Killing Eve. This is a show where we react to the episode, kind of go through some things. Here's a heads up right away. There are spoilers on here, so if you are on the West Coast and you haven't actually seen the episode of the show yet, we invite you to maybe pause and watch this afterwards, because we will definitely be going over some things that happened in this episode, and we don't want to give anything away and ruin it for you.
No, exactly. And we don't want to get any mean tweets that we spoiled something for you. So fair warning, everyone.
Absolutely. Fair warning. And just so folks know, if this is the first time you're seeing this with us, Megan and I both usually are covering the UFC, and we travel all around the world with that. Of course, right now we are grounded. And in the meantime, we're like, we love this show, so let's talk about Killing Eve a little bit. But we are hopefully going back to work in a couple of weeks.
Yes, very exciting. May 9th, UFC 249 kind of kicks off our schedule, going back to normal. Fingers crossed that everything goes well and safely. So a lot of action from Florida, and then TBD on where the rest of it will be. But I have faith that we will be back to our Octagon action that we all know and love very soon and very safely.
That's right. Well, we should get into the episode, and first and foremost, and we like to dress kind of in a tribute or something that goes with the theme. I dressed as Carolyn. I thought we lost her. I'm not going to lie. I thought we lost her for a moment, and I panicked. But so that long sweater coat that she has, I think, is so beautiful. This is actually a BCBG sweater that it's cropped. It's it's shorter, and it zips down. And I'm sure by the end of this episode it'll unzip and everything. But I love it, and I had to wear it as a tribute to Carolyn. So what are you wearing?
I'm wearing very professional overalls because when we see Villanelle in the opening scenes, she's kind of around a piano in Spain. She is wearing a striped shirt. I don't know if you can tell there's stripes. And overalls. And, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I just washed my hair today.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's down and not. That is traditionally how my hair looks, up with some sort of headband. But here we are. I washed my hair and I was like, I can't let this go to waste. This is like a once a week thing.
It's nice. I would have thought your hair would be easy and you would just it would just be wash and go all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what I haven't done anything to it.
You just
but it's the fact that how often do I wash it?
Exactly. Yes. I know. This only gets shampooed very rarely. Conditioned all the time? I go through like a gallon of conditioner a week. Yeah.
Exactly. And people don't understand. They think it's gross also if you don't shampoo your hair like every day. It's not. Everyone.
It's not gross. Well, let's talk about the episode. You talked about it right here at the top. We did get a killing in Spain and Andalusia, and this was something interesting that Villanelle did with the piano tuning fork and sneaked up behind the lady and sent it to her. But then, of course, the real drama comes with the baby that we found out is abandoned once we heard that on the monitor.
Yeah, I mean, she was talking to the nanny, who's obviously trying to protect both herself and the child. So then Villanelle's like, you love her so much, she's not even your baby.
I know.
But so not really comprehending how another human being could care for someone else. So takes out the nanny. But, you're kind of left for a few minutes wondering what is going to happen to that precious, innocent child. Right. And Villanelle actually does the right thing, takes the baby, and I think this would be really fun to entertain for a while. Then we see Dasha put the baby in the trash, but you know that it eventually was reunited with its family, the father who did survive this attempt.
Yeah, later on she's seeing the news and it said bin baby, is back with the family and Villanelle's like, wow, he looks so happy, and like you said, trying to comprehend wow, family dynamics, happy and everything, which kind of sets off the theme of her wanting to rediscover her own family. Later on in the episode, we see her with Konstantin, and she's talking to him about wanting to go back and trace her roots. And I wrote it down, and she said, do you think people smiled when they saw, what did she say? Do you think people smiled with joy when they saw my little face?
I thought two things during that scene. Who kind of thinks like that? Have you ever thought about what you look like as a baby and if people liked it?
No.
Right, yeah.
No.
So I thought that was really a unique thought pattern for her to have. But I thought when Konstantin answered her about how she looked as a baby, seemed like he knew more than he was letting on about what her history may be. Right. So obviously that's something that's going to come down the road, which I'm kind of excited to see. Is this nature or nurture? How did this come about?
Exactly. I'm curious too. And also, like we said last week, when we found out where maybe we're starting to get the idea that some of the people that they're choosing are vulnerable. So yeah, where she comes from. But I want to take a little sidebar. And this, on this show here on Killing Even More, I like to be helpful to people if we can. So Megan, every now and then you will be confronted though with a baby that is in fact ugly. And the mother or father might still require you to give some sort of response or reaction.
Yes.
So I found this out a long time ago. I think it was a professor of mine gave me some patented things you can say that the parent will take as a compliment that is not necessarily a compliment, but it is how the person receives it. So okay. You gaze upon and you're like, oh my, but and you just go, now that's a baby. Because then they go, the owner's like, yeah, I know, right? That's like the baby. So right. You say, now that's a baby, right? Or you just look and you're like, oh, he has your eyes, right? And then the rest of the sentence is like stuck in his freakishly ugly head, but at least there's something complimentary or that the parent can draw on and think that's a compliment.
I think that's really nice and very helpful tips for all of those watching right now. I mean, it helps me. I really need that in my life. Also, I've learned a long time ago not to assume the baby's gender.
Yes.
Because sometimes, I forget what show it is, but the baby is like wearing pink and it's a boy and somebody's like, oh, your daughter's so cute. And they're like, that's his favorite color. You can't guess. And so I always just say, oh, what a cute baby, or like just refer to it as baby, because I never, you never know
you don't.
Or boy, what they're going to be dressed in or anything. So it's like, let's just be safe.
You don't know. But yeah, so I think that was fun. But yeah, I think the whole idea of her going home is going to be interesting, because we do know they said she's going to be going back to Russia. And so we'll find some more out about her. But I thought it was fun the way they did start off with a kill again, and we saw more of the playfulness. Last week we were kind of complaining that the clown killing was too short, and so today we saw a little bit of playfulness, but though she didn't like the baby in the back and forth, so like the liveliness is coming back.
Totally agree, and I felt like this was a great episode, kind of returning to the episodes in season 1 and 2 that we really fell in love with, because there was a little bit of everything, even in terms of like those beautiful shots where she's in the stuffed animal store, I forget what they called it. I just thought that was shot so beautifully as well. That those are the things that we've become accustomed to. Look at Wade, so quick on it. But I just thought like this was a great return for us. We've set the stage now. Let's go back to kind of how we fell in love with the show. Yeah, absolutely. And yes, that is Wade producing this. My husband Wade, he's upstairs in the office pulling away, and we mention it and he pops up, so we got to give a high five there. So now a couple of other things I wanted to okay. So we know now that Eve is also going to be working with the folks down at the Bitter Pill. And I thought that was kind of fun when she had the meeting. And so it's the guys from the Bitter Pill and Carolyn, who we now know has no problem being naked in front of her coworkers, which, by the way, I do. I would die.
Yeah, so no. So they have this meeting and they're sitting down, and again, I swear, whoever, if there's a writer that's specifically writing for Carolyn, they give her such great lines, and they're talking about, and they were sort of like having a contest of like who gets all the information or whatever. And she says to him, she says, well, just because you had a beanbag bake-out area, you thought you had something cool. And the way she said that, because you had the beanbag bake-out area, and I was like, instantly I saw it, like the visual of that just like popped up, and I thought it was hilarious. Oh, she is kind of the star of wit in this show. You just have to like be following her so closely for for us it's a heavy accent sometimes, but I just absolutely love her. And so when there's that scene in the car, I think that kind of tugged at all of us, whether you wanted to or not. I mean, we see this scene in the car where Villanelle is pretending to be a police officer. Yeah. And my first thought was, oh, not Carolyn too, like she's such an integral part of the show that I'm like, she cannot leave us. No, she can't go. And she has such a, she's so connected to everything. I mean, that's the thing is Carolyn is pivotal, and we saw that in that moment. She finally looks at the text from Eve, and she just says, Villanelle after you, right? So that's what she sees right before, and then she kind of turns around and realizes that this cop that they've been seeing in the rearview mirror for quite some time is actually now chasing them down, and then she sees things, she's like, oh no, when they figure out that Carolyn is kind of a linchpin who knows a lot of information about the 12. She also knows about who's getting paid. She knows about Panda being killed. You know, she knows a lot of information. So I too was worried, and I thought, no, they can't get rid of her though, because she is so important, and she's motherly, right? If this season is about family and things like this, we know she is an actual mother. We know she's grieving still for the loss of her son, but you know, in a way, she's the mother of all the people organized searching for answers. And you know what I mean? On the show, in a lot of ways, she's the matriarch.
No, absolutely. She really is the glue. And her and Konstantin have this relationship where you're not quite sure if it's beneficial to both of them or what's going on there. And there are just so many different facets to her. And I think that when we saw Sergey, right? He was in the back of the car.
Yes.
And we even saw that, like, you know, you're expecting it to be for Carolyn, and here it is. It's actually about Sergey, and she was already onto that. You know what I mean? Like, she already was so clever about how they're working all of this out. She knew how to wait for him, where to grab him at, and the effectiveness of what it would be. But unfortunately, he bit the bullet before he could be of any help to her.
Yeah, but I was like, oh no. Okay, but I have to ask you, because I feel like, I don't know if we're burying the lead here. But even Villanelle kissed. And then they headbutted.
Yes. I'm going to be totally honest. I thought that was like going to be a daydream. Or like she fell asleep on the bus and that's what she dreamt. I genuinely had a hard time believing that really happened until we saw Villanelle like off the bus kind of watching it go by. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that was a real scene. That really happened. They love each other. They hate each other. They can't get away from each other. They're like, get away, you tried to kill me, on both ends. But then also, oh, stay here, I love you. And I think that the kiss headbutt is the perfect physical reenactment of how they emotionally feel about each other.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And what's interesting too is at first Villanelle didn't even want to take the job because it had to send her back to London. And it is that whole push-pull thing of her, of course, wanting to be back there, knowing that Eve's alive and wanting to be back there and see her and all that, but also knowing, you know, how dangerous it is when they're together. It's the cat and the mouse. And so 100% agree. It's the they can't help it. They're so drawn to each other. There's the kiss, but I also have to repel you violently. And everything's violent too, right? It can't be it can't be a discussion about it. It has to be violent. There has to be blood. It's always something which is so primal. You know what I mean? In every exchange, there's scrapes and cuts. Like there is physical scars. There's emotional scars. You know, everything about the relationship just runs so deep on so many levels. But I did think that it was interesting that they had that moment, and you know, you really made it really seemed like it took Villanelle a minute to get her thoughts together.
Yep. And then so we see that bus scene, and then we also see at the end of the show where she put the stuffed animal in Eve's bed, so now she knows where Eve's new apartment is, which I took all of 2 seconds. 2 seconds. And the stuffed animal is saying something like, you wish I was really here or something.
Yes.
And you see Eve being like terrified and then repulsed. And then it's almost like, oh, I kind of do. And I kind of like this. You know, you can actually watch her, you know, her thoughts change. Yeah. As she is listening to it play over and over and over again and listening to Villanelle's voice. And it's like, are we back where we were before? And it seems kind of like that.
It does. It kind of does. I want to look and see if we have any questions here. Folks saying hi, everybody. Hello, folks. Hey, the Gucci kid. So somebody's saying hello. Okay. Oh, thank you. People just saying hi, and if we're going to okay. So yes, we are going to be excited about the fight stuff, but we will talk about one day. We'll just get together and we'll talk fight stuff as well. But actually, wait, you just said something that I wanted to. Oh, Wade said he's got a bathtub thing. Oh, here's the bathtub thing. Do you remember how I said Carolyn likes to conduct all her business in the bathroom? That's Kyle Kingsbury. And he was cutting weight. Yeah, and so we did a whole video with him, like, this is years ago, cutting weight. It's so funny. He and Natasha are totally cool. They're nuts. And of course, so people saw that video and they were like, oh my God, and they thought it was so extreme. And like, they're like, oh my God, Karyn, like you're so up close and personal with people. Meanwhile, it's my husband who's holding the camera. So folks, if you're seeing, it's like both Megan and I both work with our husbands. So when people kind of say stuff like, oh, you do this when you're on your job, you're like, yeah, okay, right. Because they're actually standing right there, but sure.
Right, I could not agree more with that. I just wrote a comment to our good friend Brett Okamoto.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, you'd have your shirt off or something, and these people were like, oh, you're married, and then Joe, I'm like, yeah, Joe is the one that tells him all the time, take your shirt off. Like, I don't understand what you guys think I'm doing, but okay.
I don't know. All right, now I know what I wanted to mention. So last week, and I wish I could remember who sent the comment, when we're still talking about who killed Kenny, somebody came in and actually said, what if Carolyn's daughter has something to do with the son being dead? What if because now she's all the way back around and now she came into the picture because she's just home grieving, right, about her brother, or is she? Like, we don't really know that much about her yet. So that was something that was kind of interesting to think about. Well, maybe she has something to do with things, and we'll see that she actually, because we know, like, she actually has known Konstantin all her life too.
I'm shook over that. I don't know whoever's comment that was. I'm not gonna sleep. I didn't think about that because she makes herself be so pathetic, almost like where she not in the fact that I shouldn't say pathetic, but the way she kind of expresses things about her emotional state and her upbringing and her mom's emotions. It makes you think that she's struggling and she's not this strong woman, but that would be an amazing guise, right? Like that. Oh, I'm shook. But I
know when I read that, I was like, oh, I don't know.
I mean, I love it, but I hate it because I don't know the answer, and so I want to know the answer. No, that would be brilliant, and you're right. She has known Konstantin for a long time. Also, not quite sure where Konstantin's loyalties lie. I think there were a lot of questions that kind of went through this episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't really know. But I saw a comment in the chat that said, "Did you wish Carolyn hugged her daughter?" And I did. I do wish for herself and her daughter. First of all, your mom comes home bloody. If you came home looking like that, Aurora would immediately be hugging you and kind of freaking out. I would assume that you'd be doing the same thing as a mother. So I did want that for her.
But isn't the whole thing that Carolyn is like this stone, and her daughter, she thinks her daughter's overly emotional, and her daughter thinks, that she's too much of a stone. I mean, and at some point, Carolyn, yes, is going to have to crack. I will say this, but I will say, as a person who is not the most emotional person in her life myself, that other people around me sort of sometimes struggle with the fact that I'm not as emotional as they are, and that it can cause issues sometimes. But I will say that you may feel things, you just may not be as demonstrative about them. You know what I mean? But yes, I think in that instance, and especially, I actually thought that Carolyn would initiate, because you could tell that she was shook. Speaking of being shook, like, I almost died. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell. I actually thought that she was going to reach out, which I thought would be a nice moment. Yeah,
it would have been really nice. And I think she, I wonder what she took away from that situation where really her life was in Villanelle's hands, right? It would take nothing for Villanelle to just point the gun in her direction and pull the trigger. We've seen her do it, for less, and she doesn't care. And Carolyn is kind of this thorn in her side where, she's constantly trying to hunt her down. But you're like, did she not do it because she's close to Eve, or what it may be? So, and then you have to wonder on the flip side, like, what is Carolyn's reaction to how Villanelle only went after Sergei and not herself or anybody else in that car?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you never know. She might start to understand why Eve is so drawn to her, too. She might start to understand that she's, like, a good bad guy, or,
Right.
But yeah, like you said, we have no idea what she knows about her history, because Carolyn and Konstantin have had so much past shared history. That was one little line I thought that was great, because she said something about, when they were showing the dossier, and they're like, oh, and it's Sergei, the accountant or whatever, and Eve's like, oh, I know, whatever, you guys had some great night in Russia, and she's like, we only had part of an evening or something like that, and then she's like, we know, you had a great time in the 80s or something like that. It's like, go Carolyn, like, I do picture her just like, you know, the super spy lady, just total badass, just like running all over the world. She's great.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's so great. I feel like she's still doing this to this day, still doing that to this day, because when she was at the bar, I would love to hear your take. When she was at the bar, I think the whole date was fake. I think she went there to run into that gentleman at the booth.
Interesting, because I wrote the thing down about coincidence, right? Because she was claiming that she got stood up on the date, and the daughter was like, oh, it's great for you to go out and get back in the mix, and blah, 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 blah. We got to put ourselves out there. You're right, because they kept showing the group of people being boisterous, right? And so, but who is he? We'll figure out who he is. But why would she be tracking him, and like, did she really get stood up? Is that, or was that, what's the deal? Was that really a coincidence? Because I too love coincidence, but you're right. Was it really one or not?
I think she knew exactly what she was doing. Did I write this down? Because she said something. Oh, did I write it down? Oh yeah, when she said, I think she was talking to Eve, and she said something along the lines of, "It's not actually that easy using people I once loved." And they had that little comment where he said, "I haven't seen you since I got divorced," and they had this awkward laugh where you're like, "Oh my God, what did you do?"
Right, exactly.
But it made me think: did they used to have a love affair, and now he can come in handy for whatever she needs him for? That to me I was like, there was no date. You knew exactly what you were doing. You're waiting until he was drunk enough, and then you could kind of have a more pliable relationship instead of, whoa, I haven't seen you in 20 years.
To draw him, they absolutely hooked up in the past, and she absolutely is using him for something now. Yes.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. I look forward to finding out who he is and what he can do for them.
Yes. But he was, and then that was one thing that upset me a little bit. You know, she's like, well, the years have been good for you. And he's like, yeah, that hard living is paying off for me. And like, isn't that the truth? That men can like live that hard life and then just be like a rakish, handsome old, you know, whatever. And like, doesn't wear the same for women.
100%. I think about that all the time.
Frustrating.
Very annoying.
Very annoying. You're like, oh, look at your cute salt and pepper hair, you silver fox. And then it's like, look at that old lady, you know? It's like, that sucks. Okay. Yes. I want a sidebar about perfume. She said she wanted to smell like a Roman centurion, which was hilarious. Yeah, and she said she wanted to smell like power. She wanted to smell like all that. So I thought that was kind of funny, and where she's, you know, asking about what does she smell like and all that. But do you have a favorite scent? I'm not sure what you usually wear. Do you have like a few that you rotate?
I do Born in Roma. I believe it's Valentino.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, I remember years ago asking you what you wore because you smelled so good. It was Gucci, right?
Yeah, I used to wear a lot of Tom Ford, which I still do. Yes, I wear Tom Ford Black Orchid. I have worn Gucci in the past. I wore a lot of Coco from Chanel, and a Narciso Rodriguez that I like. I like a Victor and Rolf, the flower bomb. You know, I rotate it. I go more for like the earthy, not earthy, that's the wrong word, like the muskier things, like floral's not on me, good for me. I'm not a floral, not too floral.
Oh, I'm more fruity and floral, and I just wear one. I'm like so basic. I have a huge one, and then I have a travel one, and that's it. I'm like, okay, I found one that works. I'm good.
Oh, nice. No. I gotta rotate. I get some more, and then especially too, Mother's Day is coming up, because that's when they put out like the nice box sets. You know what I mean, in the gift sets. So I need to go and.
If your husband were to be watching, was there a scent that you would look forward to from Mother's Day?
That's what I was just going to say. If one were to be watching or listening from upstairs, that's what I was saying. I need to go and look and see. But I do think my Chanel is low, because I actually had worn it. It was my signature scent for so long. And then I actually think I kind of got away from it a little, and I think I might be coming back around to it.
Perfect.
So that one might be a little bit low. We could check that.
Like back in the day, Love Spell from Victoria's Secret, I remember that was like all the rage.
Oh, yeah.
As high schoolers wore Love Spell. It was like this purple, and you'd mist it and walk through, and every girl smelled the same.
Right. Well, listen, I bought Aurora Loves Baby Soft, and it smells so great. Oh, yeah, no, and every time she uses it, I'm like, oh, my God, I'm in 8th grade again. Like, I don't know why I'm smiling. 8th grade totally sucked for me. all of it sucked. But that smell, it brought back, you know what I mean? You're just like, oh my God, that and the Bonnie Bell lip gloss and stuff.
Oh yeah, strawberry, watermelon.
Good stuff. Okay. Good stuff. So, a couple of other things about the show here. So Niko, it looks like, is going back to Poland. When she went to go see him, obviously at that, so it was some sort of institution. Yes. He said he checked out, didn't leave a forwarding address or anything like that, but she just said, he did mention Poland. So I'm curious if, like, we think Niko's just totally gone, or if we think he's ever going to even still be back in this with Eve. What do you think is going to happen with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I take a lot away from not quite knowing what type of institution was it. Was it a rehab facility? Did he find himself because of what happened, you know, in the throes of addiction? Or was it something more for mental health? Because she said, yeah, he was doing really well. So yeah. I do think that is interesting because no matter what, he's trying to separate himself from the crazy that has been brought into his life by Eve. And you know what? I can't blame him. Because here his wife is in love with somebody else. Yeah. And watching, you know, somebody he loved get murdered, and then, you know, having his life on the line how many times, even in front of, you know, his school, the kids he taught at school and stuff. I cannot blame him. It came to a point where Eve clearly made him second or third in her life. Right. And if he's finally on a better track with whatever he was struggling with, for me, I'm like, go to Poland, Niko, stay over there, stay safe, find yourself a nice girl, eat some pierogies, and we'll be all set. Like, you don't need that shit in your life. Right.
Yeah. Pierogies, by the way. Oh my God. So good. Oh my God. Did you ever go to Veselka down in the East Village, down in New York, in Manhattan?
I don't think so. No.
Fantastic. But yes, also, by the way, he's so much better off without her. And also, by the way, like, Eve might not want to date men anymore anyway, right? So at this point now, they are very clearly in love. We don't know how far this will actually go in any kind of other sort of physical manifestation. But yes, I think Niko is, like, way better off just getting the hell out of town. Especially also, if you don't want to be where, I mean, look, Villanelle could probably find him anywhere, but again, like, that crazy world, he needs to just go.
Yeah, and if he has that separation from her, you know, he might be safer. Like, Villanelle's not going to care about him, at least I don't think, if he's
I don't think so either.
Eve is in England and she can kind of keep an eye on her. So, yeah, I think he's already suffered enough loss, and that's not what he signed up for. Right. You know, can't blame him.
No. And then lastly, do you have a Build-A-Bear? Do you ever go to Build-A-Bear? Do you?
I can't say I do. I want to say I took my oldest niece, who's now 18. Yeah. I want to say I took her when she was really young, and it was so expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, and my parents have taken my nieces and nephew there.
Yeah.
And it's like $100 a bear. It's insane.
Yeah, I somehow never took Aurora because she has aunts and, like, you know, like grandma, you know, like people who wanted to spoil her. So literally we had to be like, please stop buying stuffed animals. It's like the Tribbles from Star Trek, if anybody else is a Star Trek fan. So they just multiply, and then they just, your house is overrun with them. But I've never actually had to pay for one. But, you know, it's always like, we're having a birthday party at Build-A-Bear and stuff. So yeah, we have a few here. But I didn't know if you've ever made one. I've never made one. But I know, I mean, whoever thought of that idea is a genius, because that's a genius business.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but for my dog, Benny, who is my child, when he was a puppy, he was struggling, and so we got him a fake stuffed dog, and it had a warming component to it, and then it had a fake heartbeat, so that he could feel like as if he was laying with his mom. Yeah, so I didn't make it Build-A-Bear, but I did the equivalent for my furry son.
That's so sweet.
It was. And it actually really worked. So if you have a puppy or your dog is maybe struggling, like, it was amazing.
He was struggling like nerves?
Yeah, you know, they're not supposed to be away from their moms when they're babies, or really at all, as I feel like a terrible person now that I have more knowledge on, you know, the lives of animals and how they are affected by these things. So when we got him, he was really young. And so, you know, he's torn away from his mom. He had a brother that we didn't get. We only got him. And so he was just super lonely and, like, scared. And so we got that for him, and it was so great. So he used that. I think we still have the dog somewhere. But yeah, they came with, like, a little heating component, so it felt like a warm heartbeat from his mom.
So cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had no idea that existed. I didn't know.
Well, just in case Harmony needs one.
Yes. In case she needs any. Well, let's see if we have some questions here before we wrap it up. But folks, just saying hi. Well, it's good that we have got folks writing in from Brazil and different things. Somebody was saying they loved this episode. Gray Moss is saying the whole bus scene, amazing and surprised me. Yeah, the bus scene was great. It did make me think though, like, and I don't know, like, we work in the fight business, right? So you and I would have started calling the fight. Would have been like, oh, underhooks, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So to me, yes, I would see a fight and like not necessarily freak out. But still in all, I would be like, yo, we're on a moving bus, and like, you don't want to mess up the bus driver. Like, I still think I might try to somehow stop the fight. I don't know.
Did you see everyone with their cell phones out?
I don't.
So I thought that was great. I was like, oh, they actually, like, they thought about that. That is how people react in this day and age, is they would get their phones out to chicks in the bus and start filming it. You know what I mean? And like, and I wonder, would it ever go anywhere?
No, I know. But so, hey, wait. So at the end, though, do you think that Eve was, when she stayed at the bus and the bus came by and he looked at her, do you think she didn't get on because she's like waiting to see if Villanelle's on one that comes by?
That's a good
Or was she just like, oh, it's you, the same driver, I don't want to deal with that again? Like, I couldn't remember if that was the same driver, because there was something about that scene at the end where she looks at him and there was something.
Yeah, I agree. I also thought, was she maybe in like the middle of a reverie or something? You know what I mean? No, I thought that was interesting. And the writers are so spot on with things. They include these little scenes for a reason, and they all end up tying together. And so it's like, that was in there for a reason. To me, I could kind of feel like maybe she was fantasizing that Villanelle would be on a bus, and she was like, oh, I'm going to just sit here and keep thinking about that.
Right.
But I don't know. It could also be like, I'm super embarrassed, so let me just wait for the next one.
Right. Now it's the risky business scene on the train with Tom Cruise and Rebecca De Mornay.
Exactly.
That's actually pretty high. That's funny. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. And if they do stay in London, and if, you know, where they end up going and chasing. And the other thing, I guess, is like, who is Carolyn just going to fund Eve all along now too? It's not like Eve's got money, because that's the one thing I was like, okay, if you're on this chase and you're really invested in the hunt, but like, who's funding her?
And is Bitter Pill one of these shell corporations that's really working for the government, but they are pretending that they are this independent corporation? Right. You know, I don't really know, because I feel like they're way more equipped than a regular just company would be, you know, that's like doing research and stuff. So I think there's going to be a lot that comes into play in terms of who is going to help Eve get through all this, who's going to fund her, who's also going to support her through these different adventures she's going to go on. Because now that Carolyn's seen her, now that she's been in Eve's house and been in Eve's personal space, I think there's no denying that they have to follow where this goes. But the one thing, Karyn, I did want to ask you is in the end, when Villanelle was in Konstantin's bed.
Yes.
Did you feel like she was almost holding something over his head? Like, I felt like, yes, we work for the same organization, and I did. But when she said, oh, this accountant I killed, I felt like she was doing it to play a little game with him. Like, I know what you're doing, and I'm going to drop this for you.
Well, right, because he even said, I need to find $6 million. She's like, oh, you can't do that. And then, so there was there is some sort of leverage thing there of like, like, maybe I did this and just saved your ass, or maybe this and that. There is something there. You're right.
And
there is something there.
I just wonder what it is. Is he double crossing the 12? You know,
he seems shady, and I know it seems like an obvious thing to say, but Konstantin seems very shady to me.
AF. Shady AF.
Shady AF, totally. Shady AF. And by the way, the nice was that a Care Bear shirt, jammies she was wearing? I actually thought, I was like, does Aurora have any Care Bears I could go get them?
That would have been great.
She doesn't. But speaking of the Care Bears and speaking of the clothes, so the yellow pants and the white polka dotted blouse, so pretty. I feel like you have an outfit like that.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for saying I wish, but I've been incorporating a lot of yellow for our return to broadcast. asked. I was like, oh, I need more yellow. But I love that that shirt that she's wearing, the polka dot shirt, is supposed to be worn like tied up very properly, like a tie, and it kind of covers all of your skin. And that's how the designer had it made and how they showcased it on the runway and in the ads.
Okay.
So I think it's interesting that she's like, oh, I'm just going to do it my own way and still rebel, but I'm wearing these obviously incredibly expensive clothing.
Yes. Well, if it's supposed to have that big, like the big bow in the front then?
Yeah, kind of, but it goes down almost like a man's tie.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I see, because I think it's beautiful. I thought that outfit was beautiful. I love yellow. Yellow for me, though, is one of those things I have to wear it at the right time of year because there's a lot of yellow in my skin tone. So if it's like between, let's say, November and March, yeah, I don't look so great in yellow. But, once I can get some sun, I do love to wear it. But I thought that was very pretty. But I love the polka dots. I don't wear a lot of, I have some things with like some stuff on the sleeves, but like for me, like a big bow isn't great with all this, but the tie idea is cute, but I agree with you. I think it's like that sort of whimsical, throwing it over my shoulder instead. And it's also sort of a play on the fact that she likes to choke people too. And you know what I mean? And like the scarf around the neck, I thought, oh, yes. Okay, yes. See, that's very pretty. Oh, yeah, that's pretty. So it's not a big bow. It's just like a tie. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a tie down. Yeah, so, I just love how, like, she's on the go all the time, but yet she finds these incredible designer clothes to just, like, throw on right after a murder. Oh, okay. Right. Must be nice.
Nice. And then there was the cute dress with the stripes and the puffy sleeves, which we were saying last week when she was training the new guy. She was kind of in more of a maternal thing, and so this was in the scene with Dasha. And again, that to me was sort of more juvenile and a little bit more playful, which seems appropriate because Dasha's like, her elder from before, and they have that relationship of her being like her teacher for whatever way back when. So I thought this was like a cute, kind of fun, playful, childish outfit.
And very European. To me, the way the sleeves are fitted here is a very European look, and she's playing the part. I always think that she dresses very well for the places that they have her go. Like she finds what's the vibe of wherever she is, and that to me was a very Spain outfit. Spain in the summer, like, look at me, I'm here in Europe, and it looks. She doesn't want to hide with her clothing, even though she has this very secretive job. She wants to stand out with what she's wearing.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, she looks great. The only thing with those kind of outfits is like it has to be warm, right, where you can just put a shawl on because you can't put sleeves on. Like you can't put a sweater.
Right. just goes down. It's not a good thing. No,
then it's all bunched up here, and then you're reaching up from here to reach you know the drill. Girls know the drill. Guys don't even understand how hard it is to dress like a woman sometimes. I swear.
And then to dress as a woman on TV is so challenging.
Totally.
It's so challenging. Oh, if people only knew the things that we go through.
If people only knew. So now, today when I was getting ready for the show, I did almost choose a gray suit that I had. I loved the suit that Villanelle was wearing. This was kind of more of a slouchy. At first, I thought it was going to be like a Dries Van Noten or something. You know what I mean? Like something like that, or a Japanese designer. But I'm not sure. So here it is. The jacket is 1,064. The vest is 515. It's Chalion. I thought that was very pretty, and I liked that it kind of had the strings hanging off it and stuff. And that is an outfit I would totally wear. Oh,
menswear is so huge, and I think she paired it with Doc Martens.
She did, yes. We have. They actually weren't Docs. They were like a $700 version of Doc Martens. We had a picture there too. We might have it, we might not. But yes, they did get paired with Doc Martens. I mean, that's a staple. We all have Doc Martens. I've never worn my suit with Docs, but like, now maybe I should.
I'm in full support of it. Definitely need to.
Yeah, I thought that one was very cute. And I think that's it for the clothes. That it? Yep, yeah, that's it for the clothes. But yeah, so again, I did see in the trailer next week she had on some cute kind of white dress with some like red beading and stuff on that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I didn't get a lot from the preview. I don't know if you did. I always need to like kind of go back and watch it, really like take it in. But did you feel like I know what next week is about?
No. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
I don't know. And it's fine though. It's I did find myself though, and I don't know if you do this, like I have to sometimes back up the show because like I do get lost looking at the clothes. Like, so I kind of went on like a spaced out, like I got off on a tangent at one point and I forget, I was like, oh, I'm not even listening. Like Carolyn was in the car. When they were there in the stakeout, I was not even listening because I was just looking at the sweater.
Yeah, when they were in Carolyn's house when she got out of the bath, I don't know what was happening, but I had to rewind it like 3 times. I'm like, I don't know what they're saying either, so right. I have to keep rewinding.
Yeah. But so it looks like things are picking up pace and all of that. So this week's episode I thought was very good. If people want to go back and watch the other 2 episodes, you can find them on killingevenmore.com or here on YouTube, and we have some clips and things that we've been putting on Instagram as well.
Yep. Very excited about how this season is moving forward. It seems like a return to form, but with a little more spy intrigue going on this season. So I'm genuinely excited every week to watch how this is going to unfold because they just continue to find ways to keep us locked in, and I'm just excited we get to discuss it afterwards.
I know, me too. Okay, so once again, you can follow Killing Even More on Instagram. We have killingevenmore.com, and we have Killing Even More on Twitter. For me, you can follow me at Karyn Bryant. You can see it right below here, how to spell it, and that's KB Heat over on Instagram. But if you are seeing this on YouTube right now while you're here, you may as well hit the subscribe button. We are doing this every Sunday, but also, like we were saying, our day jobs is covering the UFC and covering MMA, so if you're a fan of that as well, you'll find tons of stuff to watch here on this channel as well. But Megan, where can they find you?
At Megan Olivi on all social media platforms. I just use Twitter and Insta. But yeah, we're talking about Killing Eve, we're talking about fights, and we're talking about everything in between. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, once again, hopefully people are still staying safe. I know here in Los Angeles, we still are, staying home as much as we can. We still have orders to be wearing masks when we're out. We are still probably going to be in lockdown until at least mid-May. But I know some states are relaxing those measures or whatever. I just hope that people, whatever they do, are taking care and staying safe.
Yeah, and listen, from a girl who's worn the mask forever and ever, it's never a bad time to wear the mask, all right? You look cool. People are like, oh, they're so intriguing. Wear a mask. Protect yourself. Protect those that you love.
Protect them, and we just saw the suicide prevention number as well. This is definitely a time that is very difficult for some people. So I know that, Megan, actually want to revisit that. Something that you said, it was really good that you put on a post the other day, just talking about how so many people are sharing posts on Instagram and like, look at I just got the ass of my dreams, and I just learned, 5 new languages, and there's a lot of showing off right now, which can also be compounding how people who don't feel great are feeling worse.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, there are times where social media is such an incredible thing, and there are times where it is a extremely detrimental thing. And I think a lot of times people aren't sensitive. They don't even realize what they're doing, but everybody makes their life look better on social media than it really is. You're highlighting the good moments. You're not going to be like, oh, look at this terrible moment in my life. I'm going to show you guys.
Right.
So I think we need to all remember that. And I have, family members and friends with children, and I am here just with my husband and my dog, and it's trying times sometimes. I can't imagine having to homeschool or clean up after kids or keep them occupied all day long. So if like your biggest accomplishment is you put away your kids' toys, like that's all right. That's a win. That is a win. Take it however you can get it. There's no right or wrong right now, and don't let anyone else's exhibits of themselves make you feel less than, because none of them are real anyway, and you've got your own amazing qualities. I mean, if you and I went out there telling everybody all the great things we do and all the terrible days we've had, they'd be like, what is wrong with these ladies? We're just here to kind of show the medium, and whatever you're doing is enough.
Exactly. All right, well, folks, that is it for Sunday night. So we will see you again next week, and just keep it coming. And if you have questions and stuff, you can also send them to us during the week, and that way we can kind of stockpile them and stuff like that. So we told you where to send them and everything, so hopefully we'll just see you next time. But thanks for joining us this time. See you.
Thanks, guys. Love ya.
Bye.